Hello, Giant fans. Ralph Carey here with my co-host Elvis Presley, the king of Giants football, here to bring you another edition of Carry On Sports. So let's carry on about the New York Giants. Wow, what a difference a few weeks make. The Giants came rolling off of an impressive win against the Seattle Seahawks, and all the glee and joy from that win lasted about one day when the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I thought the Rooneys were our friends, when the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Washington Redskins, and then the Dallas Cowboys won, and then the Philadelphia Eagles won, and then we go on to have a horrific showing against the Arizona Cardinals. Daniel Jones was hurt. Daniel has not reached the point yet in his career where he can perform at the top of his game and lead the team to victory if he's not whole. Okay? So he wasn't there. He didn't get it done. The offensive line was brutal. Brutal. And I really think that is because the Giants, Joe Judge, the whole coaching staff, put forth that we won't put Daniel on the field unless he can do everything he needs to do, unless he can plant and throw, unless he can tuck the ball and run if he needs to. Well, they put him out there and he couldn't do it. And to not think that the defensive line of the Cardinals, one of the guys, went to the defensive coordinator and said, hey, Danny Boy can't move. So the Cardinals pinned their ears back and relentlessly rushed the Giants. The Giant offensive line, who had played well for 5 weeks, was overwhelmed. They ran block well. They really did. But as far as pass blocking, it was a disaster. So here's my message. Batten down the hatches, Giant fans. Let me say this. I'll make it connect, I promise. If you don't know what batten down the hatches specifically means, it has something to do with a boat. Back in the days of wooden boats, and even today, hatches are portals from the top level of a boat that allow you to go down into the lower levels. Trust me, I'm going to make this connect. A batten clamp is one of those things where you go and you lock down whatever it is you want to batten down. And in the case of those boats, when the captain saw they were heading into stormy seas, either he or the first mate would be like, batten down the hatches, because you don't want water going into the bottom of the boat, making it heavier, lowering the water line, and perhaps increasing its chances of sinking. Here's where it ties in. The good ship Giants, they have to batten down the hatches. They are going into a terrible storm against Cleveland on Sunday night. Now, before all these bad things happen, James Bradbury, our star cornerback, comes into contact with someone who has COVID. He's out. Okay. Jason Garrett, our offensive coordinator, actually tested positive for COVID. Now, that in and of itself isn't that bad, as long as Jason is healthy and all that. We wish him the best. Because Freddie Kitchens, our offensive line coach, and the former head coach for the Cleveland Browns, who we are playing Sunday, can easily call the game and be the offensive coordinator for a week or two. The problem is, and I learned this from Eric Kennedy at BBI, and I'll tell you about BBI another time, is that because Garrett tested positive, the Giants can't practice. They can't practice. Will the NFL let them practice on Saturday, the day before the game? Will the NFL move Sunday's game out to Wednesday to allow the Giants to practice? I don't know. But as of right now, we don't have our starting quarterback. We don't have our star cornerback. And we have no practice going into the game against Cleveland when, after the game, the offensive line played. And look, I still have a lot of faith in them. They're very good. But we needed to tighten the screws after that performance. We're not going to have that opportunity. So we have to go into this game, no practice, no star cornerback, no starting quarterback, and try to win the game. That's where Captain Judge needs to say, batten down the hatches and find a way to zoom, and I mean zoom because they can't meet, zoom through these rough seas and somehow come out of this Cleveland game with a win. I don't think the Washington, formerly known as Redskins team, are going to beat Seattle. We did ourselves a couple of favors when we beat Seattle. One, we beat them, which put us into first place. Number two, I think Seattle's like, we're not losing to another NFC East team this year. So I think Washington is going to get the best Seattle has to offer. And I really think that the Giants are going to go into that Sunday night game with an opportunity to go back into first place. But man, it's a tough deal right now. What I'd like to add is, Tiki Barber, if you can hear me, please rip Colt McCoy. Because I don't know how many of you remember, but when Tiki retired from the Giants after the 2006 season and had his brief stint with Football Night in America with Bob Costas, the first thing Tiki did was rip Eli Manning and laughed at the idea that Eli Manning could lead the team. What happened? We went on a roll and won the Super Bowl. When the Giants were 1-7 earlier this year on November 4th, Tiki ripped Daniel Jones. And Daniel went on to play his best football as a Giant, rip off 3 straight wins, and then Colt came in and won the 4th game. Hooray. So what I'm saying is, please, Tiki Barber, please rip Colt McCoy. Please rip the Giants offense. Please tell us we have no shot. Now, Tiki, love you. You did so many good things for us as a player. But since you've left, not so much. So, please rip them. And I really believe that the Giants can still win this game, but it's a lot harder task. But if they do, it will be an amazing display of strength and guts and overcoming adversity. One more thing I'd like to comment on. I enjoy the Michael Kay show on ESPN. Michael, Don LaGreca, Peter, they're very entertaining. Michael Kay has this issue with fans referring to their team in a we way. Okay? He was like, you don't own the team. You don't get a paycheck from the team. It's not a we. You have to refer to the team as whoever, the Giants, the Mets, whoever, the Yankees. And I want to say this to Mr. K, even if he never sees this. If I cry in my beer from Sunday until Wednesday after a bad loss, if I feel the exhilaration of a win from Monday to Wednesday after a great win, if I emotionally invest, then I have every right to say we when referring to the team. Because any fan base is an emotional community, okay? The owners are invested in the team. The people who work for them are invested in the team. The players are invested in the team. But the one thing that we all have in common is that, I'm telling you, even though the owners have money invested, when they lose, when the team loses, the owners, the players, the fans, we all feel the same way. We feel exhilarated when they win, and we feel devastated when they lose. As long as you are on that journey, and you don't only say we when we win, if you're we through good and bad, you have every right to say we. That's it for now. This is Ralph Carey and Elvis Presley saying, we'll see you later on Carry On Sports. Hang in there. Let's go Giants, batten down those hatches.